What's up, guys? It is Dan from FightWave, and today I'm incredibly excited to be joined by somebody that I've been meaning to speak with for over a year now. Since we last spoke to him, it's been a long time coming, and what he's been able to do since, getting cut from the UFC, going on an unbelievable win streak outside of the UFC, and coming back and reminding the fans once again just how great of a featherweight talent he is with this submission victory over Billy Quarantillo, the pride of Morocco, the Moroccan devil. I am privileged to be joined by the man himself, Youssef Zalal. Youssef, thank you so much for your time, brother.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me, my man.
Absolutely, Youssef. And the last time we spoke, Youssef, a lot of stuff was changing for you. Cut from the UFC, in my opinion, unjustly, and then on top of that, going on quite a run on the regional scene, and then coming back now at UFC Fight Night, Namajunas versus Ribas, and getting a victory that reminded the fans once again that you are one of the best featherweights in the world. Talk to me about how you're feeling and how everything's been since.
Everything feels great, man. Like obviously, everything. I really do believe everything happens for a reason, and I'm very happy that not. I mean, not happy, but it's like, yeah, I got cut, and it made me the person who I am, which is the version 2.0, to be honest. So I'm very blessed about it, and I'm very happy about it. It was a lot. It was like you said, it's the whole streak you had to do, fight in front of smaller fans, not a TV, not all this stuff, and it was definitely difficult and challenging, but it was actually a lot more exciting as well because we got to create a lot more memories, new memories, and then a new the story of the journey, and everybody loves that stuff. So I'm very blessed in that, man. And like I said in my fight, alhamdulillah, everything happens for a reason.
No, yeah, definitely. And we talk about just the performance you had coming back. It feels like, again, I feel like the theme throughout your UFC career and just your mixed martial arts career as a whole has been people not giving you the credit that you deserve in terms of just the pedigree of opponents that you fought, and also just the quality of skill set that you have. And I feel like you really showed that in the Billy fight. Walk us through just the how the opportunity kind of came about and just being able to put on that performance. I feel like that was kind of the performance that really just cemented why you belong inside the UFC and reminded fight fans of just how talented you are.
Oh man, it was weird experience, because I was like I said before, I was in the Ultimate Fighter. So I was flew to Vegas. I was there all week, and then I did the medicals. They're like basically quarantine us in a hotel room. It's like I really couldn't do that much because we were ready to prepare to go to the house and all this stuff. So I was like, oh, excited, whatever. Finally, I'm about to get an opportunity to show again what I'm about and all this stuff, So and then I think it was like I was there from Monday to Friday, and then the producer walks into my room and says, "Hey, you didn't make the final cut. You're an alternate." So I was like, "Are you kidding me, man?" Like I was like all sad, like all hurt, I was like, I did all this work to come here and really like said bye to my family, bye to everybody for 5 weeks to go really perform and do my job, And it was like kind of like just oof, like a punch in the face, So that was like challenging part, and I had to call my coach, my manager, and they kept me like really focused on like just relax, like just stay focused. We got something coming. We got something coming, and that's how the Billy fight happened because apparently he had like 3 weeks. They were still looking for an opponent for him, and then they found an opponent. Then he got out, and I think it was another opponent. He got out, and then I was the guy they found, and then obviously I said yeah, and then boom, they 24 less than I think it was like 23 hours later when the producer walked into my room. Yeah, literally 23 hours after the producer, and then they told me, "Hey, you got the Billy fight," and I was like, "Bro, I was jumping all over the place and like all happy and stuff like that." And obviously, the whole fight, like that's what I've been waiting for I think it was like a year and a half since I got kicked out of the UFC. So that was like my main like whole focus, right? Is like to really like get the opportunity and really go show out. So I felt like, man, I felt the best I felt, and like just mentally the best I felt. I walked in there and I was like, it's time to go, and that's like I was talking to him. I was like, oh, it's time to have fun, and then like let's have fun and all that. And shout out to Billy, for all the respect and obviously give me that opportunity to take that fight, just to get me back in there. But I knew what level I was bringing into that fight, and I'm glad. I'm happy with what I did, right? But we still got a lot more to go.
No, yeah, definitely. And you see, like, kind of the evolution from the first UFC run to the fight back. I feel like we see two completely different Youssef Zalals. Like you mentioned, the Moroccan Devil 2.0 of sorts. And I can't help but feel like there must have been kind of some element of frustration when you're seeing all of this stuff kind of transpiring in front of you, from, being slated to fight on The Ultimate Fighter, to being an alternate, to getting this short notice opportunity. What was kind of the thought process like behind all of that? And even just being able to kind of have this shift in mindset on the regional scene to where you're just having fun in the octagon. It's not necessarily the business side, but whatever comes ahead, you feel like the proving ground will eventually come at the right time.
Like you said, man, it was very difficult. So the biggest thing was obviously the maturity of me. Be like, okay, I'm making my own memories. I'm following my journey. So like that's the main focus. I couldn't focus on like, well, I can't beat this, I can't do this, blah blah, and all this stuff. So for me, it was like the main focus because it was frustrating. It was like, oh, why I can't be signed? Why is this kid signed? Why I'm not signed? And this and that. But I look at it in a more mature way. It was like, well, I kind of put myself in that position. I gave 3 losses. That, to be honest, the only one I felt like I lost was the Ilia, and I feel like I should not, given all the other stuff. And obviously the draw, I know I won that fight. There's no way that's a draw to me. So whatever, like that's like all that stuff. So I can either like take it and like grow from it and learn from it, or take it and just be downhill, and like you never know, like, oh man, I don't want to fight this, I don't want to fight that. So it was kind of like that, a hard little transfer in that first few weeks, after I got kicked out, like first month or so, and come back and really just focus on having fun. That was the biggest thing, to be honest. Like, I don't know if, like, I feel like I'm having a lot more fun with the sport and just like in the MMA in general, So I understand the business more, and then I like just more mentality wise. It's like I'm just having fun, and like everything I do is on purpose. It's not just they're just relying on talent and stuff like that. So I think that's the biggest difference that was, and then obviously the people around me as well. The coaches, my teammates, and all that stuff, like cornering my teammates, helping my teammates, getting big contracts, big this, big that. So that was a big motivation to me.
No, yeah, definitely. And one thing that you stood out that you said right now is just you look at your teammates. When you've got teammates like Brandon Royval, like Alexander Hernandez, like Markel Maderos, and just Chris Gutierrez, the list goes on and on at Factory X of quality guys. It's easy to kind of look past all the bad and look forward towards the good. And it feels like in times like when you talk about the hardships that you faced on the regional scene, it's easy to kind of look past all that when you have such great teammates. What's it been like for you to kind of have such an amazing circle of not just fighters, but like-minded people where you're really relishing in the journey as opposed to the destination where, of course everyone wants to fight for the best promotions in the world, but you're also creating memories. I know a couple of you guys went over to Brazil for UFC 301, creating memories there and just, paving your own path. What's that been like to be able to kind of create these memories amidst all the frustrations and the ups and downs of the fight game with your guys?
For sure, man. Like you said, it's the memories. That's what's the most important. I feel like sometimes we focus so much on our job, which is fighting, right? And then like we forget about the rest of the world and forget about our life and outside. We're not just teammates. We're hanging out outside. We're creating memories. We becoming family, and that's the biggest word, like, and that's the biggest thing. It's about this, like fighting might not be last any longer. You're like, oh, one day you wake up, you might not never fight again. You never know. So like I said, you count your blessings and then try to make as many as memories as you can, And I feel like for me, it's like I had a point to prove to myself and a point to prove to my teammates and stuff like that. I feel like I have to, like you said, there's a lot of guys that want to be in the UFC and then all this stuff. And obviously, there's one way to learn it either from me or all the other teammates that I have. There's everybody has their own story, And I'm like, okay, you might get in, but if you're not really doing the things you need to do, you might just get out, So there's a whole scenarios, You might have to go to the contenders like Markel and all that stuff, So there's all these little memories and little stories that like Factory X has, and all these guys. And like you said, man, we're building memories and there's a lot more memories coming, inshallah, to our future. So I'm very excited about that. And I'm very excited about the upcoming guys that we have as well.
No, yeah, definitely. And one thing that stood out to me is not just, the people that are there from the beginning, but the people that join along the way. And two individuals that have stood out to me that have, come to Factory X from another gym, amidst different circumstances, of course, was David Onama and Isaac Dolgarian. And since they've come to Factory X, I feel like it's a testament to just how special of a gym Factory X is, to where you've got two great fighters coming in from whatever the circumstances may be, coming in from another gym and being greeted as family, being welcome and embraced with open arms, and in my opinion being two of the strongest additions to the gym as of late. You look at these guys, the quality of fighters that they are. What's it been like for you just to see people joining Factory X along the way? It's not just that same core group, but it's slowly building and blossoming into a bigger community day by day. And what's it been like to train with guys like David and Isaac?
Oh man, it's been amazing. It's like I'm so grateful for that opportunity. It's like for me to see, like you said, complete different fighters that I never ever trained with. I mean, I trained with them before. Like I went to KC before, trained with them a little bit, and then obviously I train with them full time, and they're actually my main two training partners, to be honest. So I think the last year I trained mostly with Isaac. That's the only guy I trained with, just to focus on my wrestling, focus on my defending, all that stuff. Because man, you talk about there's levels when it comes to wrestling. I learned that the hard way. I promise you that. So yeah, I was like, oh yeah, I need a lot of work in wrestling. So that was that, and then obviously Unama, obviously his fighting style, obviously he's so exciting. And I'm like, I felt the power and I felt that just like the different styles, man. So I'm very happy and I'm very grateful that we got these two to Factory X. And like you said here, like they're very happy and grateful they're here as well. So we're helping each other here to change our life and then chase our goals. So and I feel like we found the right spot for both of us, to be honest, or three of us, but for all three of us. So, like you said, it's a great opportunity, man, and I think it's gonna show in the future here in the next few fights, obviously. But it's a fighting career. It's slow. There's some slow growth, and sometimes there's that big growth. So it all depends, and it's slowly.
No, yeah, definitely. And one thing that stood out to me about you, Yusuf, is just the reception that you've not only gotten in state, building so many great connections in the US and becoming a fan favorite here, but overall, also the reception over in the Middle East and in North Africa, obviously rooted in Morocco, born and raised in Morocco, forged in Colorado. We've seen you kind of built two great communities as a result of that. What's the reception been like for you to see kind of this new life? I feel like from the Moroccan fan base, really in the last fight, a lot of fans really coming out showing support. What's that meant for you, just to be able to put a smile on so many of their faces, but also being able to carry that flag into the UFC octagon?
Oh man, it means the world to me. It's like that proud kid. We all had that dream. I want to have that dream car. I want to have this. I want to have that. For me, was to be that guy. Like, hey man, I want to represent my country as to the high, to the high. Because I feel like there's so much disrespect when it comes to Moroccan MMA. There's all the respect is about the kickboxing. That's all they care about. They're like, oh, Moroccan kickboxers, you're gonna hear about it all day. Like nobody's gonna say nothing bad. But you hear about MMA, they're like, they still a small sport and still a lot of work they gotta do and all this stuff. So for me, it was like that was like a motivation to really go do that. And second thing, man, it's the story. A lot of people feel like it's the highs and highs and then really just change your life and then like, oh, that's it. You're living that American dream. It's like I feel like I'm making a story for me and my community, and especially the Moroccan community. I feel like not every kid has the opportunity to potentially change their life. But now I'm looking at it. I seen so many gyms, like Badr Hari opening up like 4 new gyms in Morocco. They opened up a whole new UFC gym in Morocco. So there's a lot more opportunities coming to Morocco now. So for me to be the guy to go help out as much as I can, no problem. I would love to do that. And that's what I'm chasing, and that's what I will keep doing until the day I'm retired, until the day I'm dead. So for me, like I said, man, like I want to, like it's my culture. I feel like sometimes I forget about that a little bit. You know, I focus so much on fighting and focusing on everything else that I forget about my like my life. You know, and like I have a whole life outside that. That's why I was like, even like a couple of weeks ago, I posted a story. I was like, hey. This is for the Moroccan fans. Like, I want to put, like, I spoke Moroccan as well, so Arabic. So I was like, hey, like, I'm thinking about doing a YouTube channel. What do you guys think? And man, you talk about the love that I got. It was ridiculous, bro. It was like non-stop. Like, I'm talking messages. Yes, please. We want to see your training. We want to see this. We want to see that. Because I don't think a lot of people in Morocco know the actual hard work that goes in to become a UFC fighter and to be a UFC fighter. You know, I feel like sometimes they think, oh, you only got to train one time a day. You're fine. I'm like, no, there's a lot of dedication. There's a lot of discipline. There's a lot of work to it. So I'm kind of looking ways to connect to my culture and to connect to my community. So I'm doing the best as I can. And obviously the most important thing is representing it at the highest stage.
No, yeah, definitely. You talk about kind of being a part of laying that foundation or the groundwork. You know, you talk about a lot of people from Morocco not necessarily understanding what it takes to excel at the highest level, and being kind of a living example of that in and of itself is probably one of the biggest inspirations for them. And not just that, but you see overall just the Middle East and just like the Arabic community overall, you know, just the reception that fighting has gotten as of late. You know, you look at UFC Saudi Arabia. I know the UFC, or you know, one championship went to Qatar, and just the overall Middle East booming in terms of combat sports. What would it mean for you potentially to be able to fight on one of those cards? You know, basically behind one of the biggest probably home crowds you could ever envision in terms of the Arabic community. What would it mean for you to be able to be on one of those cards and be able to add to the rich history that I feel like the Middle East and North Africa has been giving to MMA as of late?
Oh, it'll be amazing, man. It will be an amazing opportunity to go really show the skills. And like I said, man, to show that, hey, the Middle East or Northern African or just the Arabs in general, they're like, we know MMA. We really do believe in our sport, like which is MMA and like kickboxing or mixed martial arts, not just certain thing. I feel like sometimes we don't get that much respect when it comes to like, oh, he's either a striker, oh, he's still like new to the MMA, which is right. They're 100% correct. We are. I feel like the Arab community and the Northern African or just the African in general, you know, and I feel like they are newer to the MMA community. They're not as much, you know. They're so still like young to the community, you know. And I feel like mostly we come in either kickboxing or a boxer. You know, there's not a whole lot of wrestlers as well, you know. So to kind of like see that and really see the involving of the sport means a lot. It means a lot to me, and it means a lot to the Arab community and the Muslim fighters and all this stuff. So yeah, man, I'm very happy. Like I even saw the PFL, the Arab PFL one they did. All the fighters, like all of them are like Arab Muslims and all that stuff. Like that was awesome, bro. Like that's amazing. And it's still going right now. I don't know who's in the finale yet, but that's like I love to see that. Like I want to see kids change their life and million of other kids change their lives. You know, because that's a whole goal now. Kids can look at. You know, they're like, hey. I don't have just to work a regular job. I can potentially change my life if I chase my dream and really work hard and do that thing. And like I said, that's gonna show in that potentially in that YouTube channel, like, hey, like you guys really want it. This is what it looks like, you know, at least from my side. Everybody else got their own journey, everybody else got their own story. But yeah, man, it's awesome to see that. And it'll be a great opportunity to go show that skill out. Yeah.
No, yeah, definitely. And I just, you know, I just looked it up. Obviously, like the PFL MENA, I think it's Middle East North Africa, is the actual like acronym for it. If I remember correctly, I'll correct it in the video. But you know, overall, just seeing the love, like you said, being able to be a part of that, create an everlasting impact. And Youssef, I want to thank you so much for your time, for the quick opportunity and the quick chat. It feels like your story has just been one to gravitate towards as a fan, because it's a story of not just resilience, but never giving up. And I feel like that's something that as fight fans we look for in the space. You've been able to do that in great fashion, just being able to come back to the UFC and really put on a staple performance once again, reminding the fans of your fighting capabilities. And of course, on one final note, you've got your fight with Jarno Errens up next in August, if I remember correctly. And it's a fight that I know fight fans are going to be sleeping on, but it is a fight of the night potential for the fans that know. And if they watch Jarno's last fight, they know what we might potentially be in store for. Talk to me a little bit about the fight from your eyes and, of course, the goals for the remainder of 2024.
Yeah, man, like you said, it's a guy that brings heat, you know. And I feel like Dutch, Netherlands, and Moroccans always had beef when it comes to kickboxing, you know. So I feel like it's gonna be a whole interesting story and a whole new thing. So, but like I said, man, I feel like people are not giving him credit. Like he actually fought good fighters. Like he's 1 and 2 in the UFC because he actually fought tough competition. It's not like it's like, oh, he's only 1 and 2. Like I'm like, yeah, it's like I fought competition, he fought competition. We're both coming out of great wins, you know. And I feel like you said, it's the fight of the night or potentially a great fight. For me, my biggest thing in fighting is I want to make that either like, oh, you think you're good? I want to make it look as easy as I can, you know. And that's like my whole goal. I don't know why, but that's just me, you know. And I'm like, okay, like oh, you thought this is gonna be a banging war? Okay, cool. I'll make it that way because a lot of people thought that's what it's gonna be like with Billy. You know, Billy thought this is gonna be like, oh, he's the fourth most significant. Oh no, I think he's the first most significant strike landed in the UFC because he goes into so many wars. So for me, it was like my goal was like obviously be the smooth operator as they call it, but trying to be as much as that, you know. But I'm very pumped on that fight, man. Like I get pumped up when I see guys like they coming for you, you know. They're trying to take your head off pretty much, you know. They're trying to knock you out. Like it makes me excited, you know. It makes you work harder. It makes you do a lot of things, you know. And like I'm very pumped at that opportunity. You know, like I said, it's a long time coming, but my goal is trying to get as much as finished as I can. You know, I feel like you said, the redemption for me is I'm a finisher. I'm not if either I'm a finisher or I'm gonna get an exciting fight. You know, there's no fucking boring fight for me. Like that's my goal for 2024. My goal for the rest of the fight. You know, my whole fighting career. And my biggest thing is to come for the guy that I already fought, and I want to return that sour taste that's out of my mouth. I lost it in Abu Dhabi. It was COVID season when quarantine and all that stuff. So one of these days, inshallah, I go back to either Saudi Arabia or Abu Dhabi or I don't care where in the Middle East to get that sour taste back against anybody. I don't care who it is. But my main goal is to fight Ilia, man. That's the biggest guy, you know. And I feel like I gave him his toughest fight, and obviously he won. It is what it is. I feel like I'm a whole different new fighter, and I think August 10, you guys get to see a whole new different one as well, you know. So I'm very pumped about that.
No, yeah, definitely. And just the Moroccan Devil 2.0 loading. I cannot wait to watch the fight against Jarno Errens. And thank you, Youssef, so much for your time. And to the fans at home watching, do be sure to check out Youssef Zalal versus Jarno Errens on August 10th, UFC Fight Night. It is going to be a fight of the night or performance of the night on either way. It is an exciting fight. Do be sure to check out Youssef on social media. Support your local fighter. And if the YouTube channel is out, I have to link it in the description down below by the time the interview is out, or whenever the YouTube channel ends up releasing, I have to link it. But Youssef, thank you so much for your time. It's been me, Dan, from FightWave, guys. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the interview. Do be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and have a great day, guys.